The last couple of months has been very taxing for me. If you are following all the episodes of the Hajj and Umrah scandals that I deal with, you'll realize the challenges that we actually sit with in South Africa. So I went out in search trying to find somebody and an operator that might be different, not doing what everyone else does, and find out, is there some good that's going on? Yes, perhaps there is, but I wanted to get down to the real essence of people out there trying to make a difference in the Hajj environment by attending to the needs of people instead of only looking at the business aspect. I found Basheer from Basheer's Travel. Welcome to the show.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah for the introduction and the compliment, Brother Faizal.
Of course. So it was a very interesting journey for me because I've been at the forefront of these controversies around Hajj and Umrah crooks, and especially in the Western Cape, I'm sad to say that people have lost lots of faith and confidence in what's going on. And then my team decided we want to find somebody that perhaps, and I must admit there are many people out there that perhaps have a similar vision to you and many other operators, but I wanted to find somebody that was on the ground attending to the needs of the people in a nice way, and I felt that you have a great story to tell.
Alhamdulillah, I really appreciate that. I hope I don't get too swollen-headed after this interview with Faizal.
I'm certain not, but I wanted to go one step back and start from the beginning itself. Basheer's Travel. You are Basheer, and Basheer's Travel, a bit of history on all of that.
Basheer Travel, basically, we are based in Durban. It's a small family operation.
I think that's the part I like.
Yeah. Very importantly is actually how Basheer Travel decided to become a Hajj operator. We are in existence for 23 years. My first Hajj I've done plus minus about 25 years ago. Alhamdulillah, my first Hajj I had a good experience, but the next year when I decided to send my wife with her father and mother, it happened to be a sour experience. And picking up from that, I thought to myself, well, there is nothing very difficult for an agent. So actually, the sourness between the relationship between an operator and his passengers is what drove me, Basheer Travel, to start the business. From her bad experience that she had, I decided that I'm going to do something. And I printed Faizal 5,000 bright pink pamphlets. And the wording on these pamphlets was, you don't need an operator to go for Hajj. Surprisingly, I'm sitting on the other side now. You don't need an operator to go for Hajj.
I'm happy you answered that because I was going to ask you about that.
And I will be your free Hajj guide. This is how I started 23 years ago, that I will be a free Hajj guide. And I have actually gathered 7 people who took me up on my offer. And alhamdulillah, we delivered. We had the confidence to say it's not difficult. And from there we just grew. But we had the passion after those 7 people's gratitude. It was a question of their reaction, their interaction. We became a family after we came back home. And this actually was a motivating factor. It's given me and my wife so much of joy to see that there are people that are appreciative of what you can do for them. And I think this was the driving force for Basheer Travel to actually be where we are today. We've thrived all along on the same 7 people that we'll never forget, and they actually brought us into the business.
It's a very interesting story because of the fact that you said that you started from the perspective of trying to offer a different service. So it wasn't the business model. Today we sit down, we put down a business model and we say, here's our projections, this is how much we're going to make, and it wasn't that at all.
Not at all, not at all. This was not our motive at all. And alhamdulillah, I am pleased to say until today, Allah has blessed us that this is not our motive.
Do you think that, and we can speak very frankly, do you think that today that might be the motive of most operators, that this is purely a business model? Look, I mean, we're talking pilgrim service and people use spiritual terms and all kinds of things, but is it really that?
Basically, Faizal, it has come down, I think, to some operators. I wouldn't categorize all the operators in that same aspects. There are some genuine guys that are around.
Don't get me wrong, Basheer. What I'm saying is that I understand that when you run an operation, there's expenses, there's time and effort. But I'm wondering sometimes, has it crossed the line to a push for profit only, or is there an internalization in some people that says, I'm dealing with the guest of Allah, so we need to cover cost and do what we're doing, but at the same time we need to be wary about all these other spiritual aspects, or is it a business only? I'm always trying to find that line.
It's a very difficult line to find, Faizal. In other words, it's going to be based on assumption, based on my personal view. If I look at those that I associated in the operational business, you actually sift out those that have that type of motive. You know, they are there for the kill, so to speak. You do get the others that are genuine. Basheer Travel, I'm glad to tell you, is definitely one of those that are genuine. At this platform, we wouldn't want to assume that the entire industry is there for the take. Within the industry, yes, there is a handful. We must make that distinction. There is a handful that are genuine for the sake of Allah, genuine for the program's welfare. Yes, they are. And if you look at the majority, I think it's become a business, and a very lucrative business to some of them. So, you know, where, like you said, there are expenses, there are overheads. These things all have to be within reason. There has to be some compassion. This is not a commodity that one is selling. We are selling a service, and the service that we are selling is we want the pleasure of the passenger, the Hujjaj, and most of all, we're seeking the pleasure of the Akhirah. So with this in mind, I think this is where we have distinguished ourselves. We have actually come to the stage where we say, we know who we are. We know what's our direction. And alhamdulillah, Basheer Travel is not solely dependent on Hajj and Umrah as its livelihood. This gives us the opportunity to actually now look at Hajj and Umrah because we have other sources of income.
Basheer, I just want to hold you there for a minute. Viewers might be sitting at home right now saying that, but anybody could be saying what he is saying. Yes. Anyone can sit there saying that we are genuine about that, and any businessman's going to do that. How do we discern in the business of Hajj, especially at this time where everyone is trying to get their Hajj sorted out in their packages and looking at pricing and doing comparatives in terms of credibility? Credibility is a big thing at the moment. How does someone watching this show right now discern that Basheer is the guy? Because he's saying that he genuinely means this. What's the difference?
Faisal, is very easy to distinguish if you compare apples to apples and you look at the hotels that Basheer Travels offers and you make a genuine comparison. You don't go by name brand, but you make a genuine comparison and you say, listen here, Basheer is offering X, Y, and Z hotels in Medina and Makkah. Let's see what's the difference comparatively to the others that are offering.
For a passenger, you're going to talk about bottom line. What's the current average price out there and what are you offering?
Faisal, what we have put out as it immediately, a passenger wants to know exactly what this entire deal will cost me. We don't want any hidden agendas. We don't want to be told a little later that we didn't do Dam, we didn't do Ziyarat, this has been left out, go home and read the fine print. No. We've been completely...
That's where the trouble really starts.
This is where the problem starts. What we have undertaken to do is on a one-to-one basis, not by phone, not by fax. If you tell me there are 5 operators that are in Cape Town that need to see Basheer Travel, believe you me, I will be there in Cape Town to meet them because we have a contract. This contract is absolutely specific. Beside the advert that we do, the contract is very specific. It details everything, whether there is a high pan toilet in your toilet or whether there is a low pan toilet, whether there is a window in your room and whether there is a fan or an aircon in the room, how many lifts the building has. So it's down to its absolute specifics, what meals are provided, and this can cause the Haji to be much more comfortable in that he knows what he signed, he carries a copy, I have a copy. Advertising can be very unscrupulous and it can be very deceiving. You remember something that on the radio advert you have 30 seconds, and in 30 seconds how much truth can you divulge? Your perception in the 30 seconds is that you need to grab the masses. So it's a very important thing to have this interaction. Currently, the Hujjaj are in this frame of mind, let's look at price. This is a once in a lifetime journey. All fairness that you have to look at price. On the same basis, you have to look at reputation. I tell you this much, that in 23 years, I don't think Basheer Travel, I can very seriously, honestly and confidently say this, that we haven't gone to that extent to defraud, to have hoteliers in the kingdom looking for us, to have passengers knocking on our door.
Which is so common today.
Which is so common today, and it makes your heart sore to think that a journey of this type, you got to get people that are going to come and knock on your door and look for you and ask for refunds and rebates. Anything that's within your control, you should be doing. And one of the things that is within the operator's control is to be absolutely transparent. And this is what we have. We have a complete transparency in terms of that contract that we sign.
I want to just look at another aspect there, and I think for the benefit of the audience, to understand that when an operator is accredited for Hajj, it also means that the operator has a substantial amount of money in the kingdom, if I stand corrected, that stands as a surety for anything that might go wrong. So this means that if you're looking at Basheer Travel, they are accredited to do a Hajj at this point. That means that there cannot be any Mickey Mouse out there. Now, I don't want to come across as if I've singled your operation out to do a promotion, but we needed to look at who's offering a great price that appears to be issuing something to the Haji, as you put it, that is tangible and has a reputation, and there's many of them out there. But I liked a part of your story which I want to go into. And the part of the story was that my team briefed me about the social aspect of what you do. And my viewers know that that's something that attracts me a lot. You've got a social component to what you're doing.
Yes.
I want to know about that.
Faizal, when we looked at the situation, first thing, how to go forward with this, we can drop dead tomorrow. We have first thing put into place that we need capital. One of the criterions from Sahuk's side, which is something that the public doesn't know about, is that we need to provide 50% of our package in guarantee to Sahuk before the passenger even comes to us. Be that as it may, from the hotels also, we need to provide them upfront guarantees. We can't sell a pie in the sky. We can't say that we have move and pick, we have 40 rooms in move and pick. We need to provide something tangible in the form of a contract. Alhamdulillah, we have so far followed these procedures and these guidelines. We've implied that to ourselves, first of all. In terms of the social aspect, Faizal, the passion to do this, once again, I might emphasize, we come in with our cheapest package A to Z. When I say A to Z, I mean everything that's within our means. Like we offer breakfast, Medina, Makkah. Comes to the days of Azizia, we offer lunch in Azizia. We offer a decent hotel. Basically, a South African doesn't want to stay more than 10 minutes walk away from Medina Haram and Makkah Haram. And when he moves to Azizia, we want to sit with him and discuss with him, what is the meaning of moving to Azizia the 20th, moving the 25th, moving the 1st, what are the advantages? We bring him down to the child level, where he knows nothing, which is the truth. Basically, he knows nothing. So to give him a price of, listen, we are offering a Hajj for 18,000 Rand, and then put him far away, it's not our motive, then send him on the 20th far away, where he's in the middle of Azizia. He doesn't have access to hearing the azan. He doesn't know the purpose anymore for what he has come. All that fruitless time that he spends has gone to waste. It's a once-in-a-lifetime journey. You want him to maximize the spiritual aspect from his heart. You want him to come back home, knock on your door and say, I really appreciate what you've done for me. This is what we're driving on. One of our main aspects is that through some years, Allah has blessed us. Like I said, the Hajj and Umrah is not our motive completely. It is there on a motive of helping, doing khidmat for the Haji, which gives us joy. The thing is this year, Faizal, we've come across many a Haji. The social aspect is, beside going for Hajj, a man comes to you and tells the listener, you know what, Basheer, I'm genuine, I want to go for Hajj. I have some financial constraints. After looking at his situation, verifying, yes, we do come to the party in that aspect. The social aspect, it gives us joy. Joy that...
If I can stop you. Somebody comes to you as Basheer Travel, and I'm certain that you hear this 24 hours a day, and that is that there are many people out there that has perhaps got to a certain point, but if you're looking at the rising cost of living, the challenges of getting there, the quota and all of that, there are many little obstacles to get through to actually go. If you are somebody in South Africa perhaps living just around the breadline that really wants to go for Hajj, you say that you meet them at a certain point. I'm trying to understand that.
When we say we meet them at a certain point,
I'm referring to someone that is down and out, really wants to go, and doesn't seem to have it all.
Faizal, we have undertaken, one of the things that one has to keep in mind is what your right hand does, your left hand must not know about. I hear what you're asking me. Yes, in a nutshell, we have accommodated possibly every year this type of situation that you're talking about. We're not talking about, in some years we have taken up to 8 and 10 small operators like us, but like I say, Allah has blessed us with other forms of income, and yes, this is giving us joy.
I'll tell you why I wanted to expand on that aspect, and that's because I just feel that for viewers sitting out there deciding where they're going to go and where they're going to spend their money, and they've got a range of options who they can go with on Hajj. But the one aspect that attracts me to Basheer Travel and what you're doing is the social aspect within me. And for me it says that if I support a business that's supporting other people, or I support a brand that can help someone else, and if I'm able to, for example, pay my full package, but I know that it might slightly subsidize somebody else due to your system that you have and what you're doing from a social component, then I would be feeling I might have scored double, meaning that I've gone and I've helped someone else to go. And for me, that's a great model.
This is something that we have done for a number of years. Maybe the public doesn't know about it. It's now coming out to light. Our prices are very competitive. You might then ask, Basheer, there isn't a profit factor in your... If we look at your situation to other companies, we find that Basheer Travel is very, very competitive. In the industry, I think Basheer Travel has always been on that platform where we have catered for the not so affordable. But it gives us joy to know that these people that are not so affordable are actually looking to come to Basheer Travel. There is an aspect that we are actually trying to accommodate. In the near future, inshallah, in about a year's time, you will hear Basheer Travel has taken a completely different aspect in terms of now going into the financial market of helping a Haji. It's something completely different. It hasn't been put out as yet. It's still in the pipeline. And this aspect that we are talking about, if one goes for Hajj nowadays, Faizal, you'll find that 99.5% of the Haji that is in Hajj from South Africa, not try to be discriminatory, but you'll find that there isn't a percentage of the black Muslim that are in South Africa. They have a desire to go for Hajj. They don't know the system, they don't know the procedure. They don't have sometimes the means.
I must say I'm very shocked at what you said, because when you said it, I just realized that you're right. But I never thought about this.
Yes,
you're right.
It's something that we are looking at. We have been given this in our mind by Allah's will. We have been given this aspect. Basheer, there are people in this country that have Islam. They read 5 times a day namaz next to us. They stand next to us. They are our brothers in Islam. But if you go to the airports, Durban, Joburg and Cape Town, how many of the muazzins that call the azan to prayer, do you find them at the airport? I'm going for Hajj, brother. It's a very minus percentage that you'll find.
But I mean, but it's shocking what you're saying, and I really think that the responsibility of what you said doesn't squarely lay on operators like yourself, but lays on this community. And sorry to say it, but if what you're saying is the truth, then this is a disgraceful thing.
We have come to realize that there are these people and they need help. This is a direction that we want to look at. If I'm telling you that if I'm accredited for being an operator the next year, and I have a quota of 50, for example, basically our groups are between 50 and 100. Prior to this year, we've handled 200 people. We are 23 years in business. Alhamdulillah, we've done a good job. Muassasa never called in us, blacklisted us. Hajj Ministry never took us off the system. We are around. Sahuk, I think, has a very good reputation on us. Therefore, we are around for 23 years. My vision for Basheer Travel is to accommodate. I'm trying to bring out an aspect to you, whether Basheer Travel is profit-orientated, motivated by profit, driven on profit. Our thinking is now looking at this 0.5%, which must speaks a lot about the mindset of Basheer Travel. What is the direction of Basheer Travel? Who are these people? Where do they want to be? Do they want to be in the people that are taking 600? No. We are looking to take that 50 people and get the pleasure of taking those 50 people, helping to subsidize whatever we can for them, but making these people aware. In reality, you're not just a muazzin, you're not just the imam, you're not just a brother standing next to me. Yes, you are my true brother for the akhirah. We want to actually take you. Allah has blessed us. Remember, to be an operator is not by your own will. You yourself is a guest of Allah. You might be an operator, you might be knowing the know-hows, you might have the finances. Faizal, I've had a respectable businessman about 12 years ago that turned up in Jeddah, and the moment he set foot in Jeddah, he was a manufacturer, a very rare manufacturer in the country, and he went for Hajj with me as a single person. When he put his foot down in Jeddah, he came to me straight and said, I want to go back to Durban. This place is not for me. He paid his Hajj packet first class. I sat in economy, he sat in business class. And when we landed on the ground, he said, Basheer, this is not for me. Whatever I've paid you, I'm not even going to talk about it. But I don't want to be here. I can't stand it. I need to go back home. In terms of this type of situation, we have the people that want to be there, that don't have the means and they want to be there. So Basheer Travel, inshallah, we hope that after this, Basheer Travel will be viewed in a different light. And this is what we're hoping to achieve.
I just want to, in conclusion, as we start ending the show, look at currently we are sitting, I mean, people are preparing to go for Hajj, and I think that there's a tail end of people that's still deciding who they're traveling with. And if we look at packaging at this point, I think for many people it is about packaging. I think they understand if they're going to travel with you, at least there's a social component to that. So we've covered that aspect. But the key aspect for me is to look at what is your current packaging looking like, and what does it briefly entail, so that people out there, for some of you who has not decided at this final hour who you're traveling with, or you're having trouble with anyone else you're dealing with, you still have an option with Basheer Travel.
Faizal, I'm glad you asked that question. Basheer Travels currently is offering a 6 weeks package, flights, Tanazul, the 5 days Campi. We're offering meals, Medina, Makkah, Azizia, lunch in Azizia, Ziyarat, Dam-e-Shukr, everything ex-Joburg at 47,000 Rand. These are 5-star hotels in Medina.
47,000 for the 6 weeks.
For the 6 weeks.
You know why I think this is amazing?
Everything.
Well, you know why I think it's amazing? I must be honest with you guys. I flew down to the Durban office. For me to be out 6 weeks in another city, even locally, is going to cost that kind of money.
At 47,000 Rand, we've done our homework first before we actually put this out. Yes, on our webpage, which is www.Basheer Travel, we have numerous packages. These packages are excluding airfare.
But you're saying there's a package for 47,000 Rand that includes everything?
Everything.
Everything. And it's a fair package. I mean, people are going to come back saying, you know, this man put me on a 1-star and I'm sitting on the roof. You know,
5-star packages.
5-star at 47,000.
It's a 10-night stay in Medina. 10-night stay in Medina. Moving to Azizia on the 25th of Zilqa'dah. Unlike I told you, where people move on the 20th, they don't know, because Azizia basically is a city that's open once a year. Move on the 25th of Zilqa'dah. It offers you everything. There is no dam exclusion, nothing at all. It includes your dam, your tanazzul, your ziyarats, Medina, Makkah, personally guided by us.
So you're saying right now,
Hanafi and Shafi mazhab.
you're saying right now there's a viewer that has 47,000 rand. They can contact you. It's all inclusive. There's no hidden cost, nothing else. I mean, in terms of vaccinations and all of that they've got to go and do.
They've got to do that. They've got to pay the sound fees.
And the tea at home and the coffee and all of that. Those things you need to attend to. Anything after that, the minute you get to the airport,
That's it.
Basheer is your man.
Basheer is your man. From the time you're in Joburg Airport, what we have realized is anyone going for Hajj, you know, the people that go for Hajj, probably back home he's brave. He needs you to treat him like a 7-year-old. When he is leaving home, the moment he lands at the airport, he's not an adult anymore. Physically, mentally, he's an adult. The journey that he goes for, if Basheer Travel is on that understanding that I am taking a 7-year-old overseas, this is what we have in our mind. We're not taking an adult. We're taking a 7-year-old by his hand, and we are responsible for this 7-year-old till he returns back home. This is what we have in our mind.
Of course, and I think that's needed from a traveler's perspective. I think many times as regular travelers we assume that people know how to do everything. They don't, because they're not in the same shoes. For many people, and I think it's a stressful situation for some people.
Yeah.
And if the agent can and the operator can deal with those things on your behalf in a comfortable manner, I think that people would be very happy.
Faizal, you'll be surprised, there's another aspect as well. The emotion that goes in when these Hajis land in the kingdom. The first time you look at the Kaaba, first thing, you can never come to terms with yourself that Allah, you have brought me to this spiritual place, this Mubarak place. You forget even how to read Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So we are there for you. We guide you spiritually. We read your du'as for you. We do the tawafs with you. We make sure that you eat at the end of the day. We have all these infrastructures in place. We are 23 years around. We have already gone through all the hurdles, all the potholes. We have filled up everything. And I think now we're on the straight level. So it's very important for a Haji, just a piece of advice. When you choose a package, look for something besides suiting your pocket, is will you get after sales service? You know, the thing is this here, you don't want to talk to an agent in South Africa and find that he has promised you, and when you come to the kingdom, he is not the man that promised you. He didn't get a visa to come.
Great.
So Basheer Travel is in that situation. We are 50 to 100 people. You will definitely find that Basheer is a man I spoke to. Basheer is a man that I need to come to my problems with. I'm not a clerk that's sitting back at home that has sold you a deal, got my commission, and I'm sitting back at home in Hajj time. I am there with you.
Because that's also where some of the trouble comes in. Basheer, in conclusion, I must tell you that you're a very brave man. Nobody comes to sit on this show saying what you're saying and knowing that I'm not going to follow up with you after the Hajj to make sure that things went well. Because I think that people know that we've been dealing with lots of shenanigans going on. And it's a very brave position for you, and I think for viewers at home, I think that you would know that we've checked out Basheer Travel and what's going on. And although I don't do any endorsements on what I'm doing, but all I can say to you is that we have looked into the operator. Things seem above board. The package of 47,000 Rand is real. The social responsibility and component, and that component is real. That's been going on. And so I personally am feeling fairly safe about what you're doing, and in a time where credibility is being tested, perhaps it's time to contact Basheer Travel and have a look if you want to go with them, especially those people that have not booked. If you have any inquiries, do follow the numbers on screen. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.